Hello, I'm Shieldwall100 and welcome to another of my quick critiques where I have a look at, well, usually, almost certainly always, the Knight Models monthly releases. And as you can see from the camera here, it's the 3 Jokers this time for the previous month. And yeah, here we are. I'm actually going to do 2 quick critiques for the releases this time around, because the 3 Jokers I wanted to do a little bit more justice. Having 1 Joker is usually enough to focus on. Having 3 will be kind of a bigger deal, so I wanted to give it the time it needed, and there's a lot to dig into here. So yeah, here they are. The 3 Jokers is a tie-in to the comic book of the same name, and obviously it's a Joker themed release this month. Interestingly, I don't think Joker has had a specially themed all for himself release since 3rd edition dropped, since he was included in the starter box itself, so I guess it was about time. So there you go. 3 more Joker models. That's just what we needed. But at least it, like I said, ties into an actual active comic book of recent times, and it's quite a good one. The idea being that there are in fact multiple characters who have had the Joker moniker on them, unbeknownst to Batman somehow. Never mind that. You've got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But yes, having multiple Jokers would go to explain his kind of radical shifts of personality and modus operandi and expertise down the years. So yes, here you go. You've got the on the left, from left to right, I think it's Joker the criminal, Joker the clown at the top, and Joker the comedian at the bottom right. Okay, yeah. So very representing different eras in the comic books, and and things like that. And yeah, it's another set of models. So I've got them assembled here. Took me a little bit longer than I wanted to, but yeah, got them done. So let's have a look at the build quality, and then let's dig into the rules. Okay, I'm gonna just get down a little bit, just so I can. There we go. Get down to my level, and so the camera doesn't focus funny. Just gonna remove the box. So here they are. Let's start with the criminal and just have a quick look at his build quality. I did like this guy. He's definitely got that classic look, definitely an older chap. You can see his profile there, and yeah, like pretty lovely model. The cane cast in something that would not have lasted in the 2nd edition resin that they used, and his base covered in accoutrements. All the models in this set have got base toppers, which unfortunately in mine seem to have a bit of warping on, so I had to put some green stuff in to hold them down. It's not too onerous, and the paint will cover it really easily, but just something to be wary of. But yeah, no problems. His head went on fine. His canes there. The details on the base are pretty awesome. I do like all the base detail. Well, a lot of the base details on all 3 of these models comes on a separate little mini sprue. So if you wanted to, you could mix it up a little bit and go a bit off script and put the stick of dynamite, etc. on the clown's base, for example, if you wanted to. He's got the spare hat. And yes, I think those are some extra rounds perhaps for the what's it called, for the Tommy gun that this model is supposed to have on his profile, but doesn't seem to be carrying in the game. I think he does wield one though in the comic, so there you go, there's the reason for it. But yeah, really nice model. See if I can get, there he is. Nice. This guy, don't look at it, he doesn't even smile. I think his is painted on. I think, in fact, smiling is actually painful, and laughing is painful to this one. So there you go. Let's move on to the clown. The zany one, shall we say, in a very unsustainable pose, kind of a swastika kind of looking pose. I'm sure that's an accident. But yeah, again, speaking of things that wouldn't have lasted in the 2nd edition resin for very long, here's another pose. The base topper really rode up on this one, but he's stuck down now, and it actually helps him. It props him up and tips him this way a little bit, so he'll be facing enemy models rather than pointing down into the ground, which is a bit of a hazard sometimes. But yes, very much in keeping with the Back to Gotham set, with the terms of the fish and the teeth on the model. So there you go, wielding his razor sharp playing cards, and yeah, another great model. Relatively easy to put together as well. Thankfully, this resin holds super glue very easily, so yeah, there was never really any danger of it breaking or even being tricky. Everything glued together pretty quickly. So yeah, let's see if we can... there he is. There's a smile we all know and love, I suppose. Okay, so that's him done, and let's move on finally to the comedian. Oh, sorry. There he is. Kind of a classic Joker pose, really, I think. Yes, taking his photograph. So this is clearly the guy who was there for the Killing Joke, and I think he's the guy who might have done Robin too, but I'm not 100% sure it's certain. It is a crowbar, so there you go, and trademark 6-shooter long-barreled gun, looking good. Looking pretty good. Fairly tricky one to put together, this one, in comparison to the others, in that his arms, he's got one arm that attaches here, and then you got to like match it up with the one here, you know, underneath. And I've done a bit of a botched job actually on the shoulder, as you can see. Elbow, not shoulder, elbow. I will get some green stuff on that and it'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, you shouldn't have to deal with this sort of thing at this price, but it'll be easy enough fix. Easy peasy lemon squeezy fix. But the detailing on the coats across all the models, pretty good. Looking forward to getting these painted as well. Yeah, and again, yeah, bits you can put on the base from other models, potentially if you want to make it a little bit more busy, a bit more interesting. But there you go. That's the models. I am, for one, quite impressed. I mean, I'd rather not have to do any extra after assembly work in terms of green stuffing, but you know, it's not a deal breaker for me personally. However, I lay it out there for you guys, and I'll have some things to recount on tomorrow, on the next video for the rest of the releases from this batch, which may or may not be more or less acceptable for you guys. But yeah, I didn't really have to do a huge amount of work here, to be perfectly honest, and the paint will cover a multitude of sins, so there you go. Right, I'm actually going to move to a different format now to recount the rules for these models, because again, Knight Models not producing the card stock anymore to go with these like sets anymore, so I won't have stat cards I can easily refer to. I have to print them off, and to be honest, the quality just isn't the same. It's harder for me to read easily in terms of a video, so I'm going to move to putting them up on the screen and then just talking over them and recount them to you that way. So I'm going to turn off the camera now, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Right, I am back, and I've got the rules in front of me, and I'll be overlaying this audio over like the picture from the app which I've taken, so we can look at the stats together a little bit more easily than usual. So the interesting thing about this Joker set is that they are the 3 Jokers, and you have to take them as the 3 Jokers. So despite the fact that they're all individuals with their own stat line, they're all leaders in terms of their rank, and they're all obviously for the Joker faction alone. You can take all 3 of them in a crew at the same time, and in fact you have to. They are 65 points each. I'm just showing you the criminals stat card now, but you see where it says 65 rep and leader. That's the same across the board for all of them. No funding for any of them, being leaders of course, and so altogether it's a 195 reputation point cost out of your standard 350, which is a hefty chunk. Hefty chunk indeed. I don't think there are any other leader choices which do that, but none of the other leader choices give you 3 models to play with either. Interestingly, they've all got the same basic stat line as well. So willpower and endurance 8, attack and defense 4, strength of 4+, movement of 4. I think, is that 4? Or is it 2? I'll have to double check. The cards might be wrong. I'm looking at the printout here. You see, the stat card is the movement's there. I think it's movement 2, and the special value of 3. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. It's standard fare for a 16. It's a bit low for a leader, but when you bear in mind that there's 3 of these guys and they're 65 points each, which is low for a leader anyway, that's not bad at all. You know, in terms of what you get, because altogether you've got at least 24 points of endurance to get through before you're down all of your leaders, or if your opponent isn't very good at blood damage, that's 48 points altogether of damage that they can take potentially as you have to take them out. Yeah, Interestingly, none of these models come with bodyguard or protect me, or well, actually it's protect me actually is what they'd be looking for. There aren't, you know, so yeah, it's not like they've got much in the way of defensive options, interestingly. So, you know, but yeah, thank goodness, otherwise it'd be just impossible to get to them. But yeah, there you go. Right, so let's start with Joker the Criminal and see what he's at. This is a relatively serious Joker, if there's such a one exists. He's very much got the, you know, he's very much into the calling of the Joker as to who the Joker should be, blah 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 blah. And yeah, what's he armed with? So he's got his trusty knife, sharp, nothing unusual there. He's got a Thompson, and not the crappy original Thompson from from Scarface and the Ventriloquist. This is the proper Two-Face version of the Thompson, with its double blood and stun, lots of shots, and the high caliber rule, as you can see there, which will mean that the strength die is the last die to be removed, as opposed to it being the first die to be removed. Thus, this weapon is a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, reload with its current ruling, meaning that you can only shoot it. You can't shoot it in the turn after it's been fired. It needs an entire turn to reload now. So yeah, it's a dangerous, deadly weapon. But you might want to be tempted to save it for that perfect shot. But if you do get that perfect shot, you're going to marmalise what you're aiming at, generally speaking. And the Criminal's traits really do sort of help with that, because as you can see, he's got ignoring detonator and find the better Joker. We'll just go for the ones we do know. He's got good aim, the special action, which means he gets +1 to hit, I think. Yeah, +1 to his attack dice rolls. So yeah, there's that's a nasty one on a Thompson, trust me. He's got Chaos Agent and Trickster and Psycho, which are all very common ones to have on Joker leaders, so I'm not really going to go into those, but they're intrinsic to the way the crew plays, to be perfectly honest. So they allow you to mess around with audacity and things like that, and give all your henchmen the Trickster trait as well. So yeah, that's there you go. That's a standard across all three of these guys as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into those right now for time and the fact that you've all heard it before. This Joker's got luck as well, which I think allows him to reroll a single die each turn for any reason, for whatever reason. Which, again, when you tie it in with that Thompson, you could just about get that last hit on something that needs to kill it, and yeah, that's nasty. But there's a good few things you could use rerolls for in this game, and you know, as long as it pertains to this particular model, then you're good. You know, luck's always useful to have. You know. Let's have a look on the special traits though for this guy. All these Jokers have got their own little thing, and so this Joker is obviously the more ranged option of the three with his Tommy gun. He's also got something called Detonate, which is another special action, and let's see what this does. Okay, Detonate. Target a suspect marker within 8 inches, center an explosion template on that marker, roll a strength die on a 3 or more against each model affected, so friendly or enemy. On a success, target suffers 1 strength, and 1 blood and 1 stun damage, and then remove that suspect marker. So he blows up suspect markers. And it says target a suspect marker. Doesn't say it has to be an enemy suspect. It doesn't have to be a friendly suspect marker. It looks like he can blow up enemy ones as well, so that's broken. I might have to look into that after this video when I'm on the Discord or something. Friendly people in the Discord. And yeah, if he can blow up enemy suspect markers, that's awesome. We like you, that one. But yeah, no, even doing it just to your own is pretty good too. Obviously he has to get within 8 inches of the enemy suspect marker, which means putting himself in harm's way, but you know, Joker don't care about that nonsense. Find the better Joker is a cool one. If you kill an enemy within 8 inches of this model, this particular Joker, only the Criminal, you can put a new friendly model, which is a Joker's victim, which I'll come to tomorrow in the next video. Sorry, is like a horde zombie kind of model. In contact before removing the enemy model. Okay, and yeah, that's cool. So basically, yes, the Joker's victims are kind of like, they're victims of the Joker virus when they're trying to create new Jokers. It's in the comic. Spoilers, sorry. And yes, this helps you to make them. And yeah, getting a freebie model is mostly useful. I say mostly because the Joker's victim models are pretty garbage. But you know, getting something for nothing, you know, that's pretty cool, and it's fun. And finally, what else have we got on here? The 3 jokers. Oh yes, that's the generic rule. They've all got this, which shows that you just show it's for recruitment, just to show you have to take all 3 of them. So there you go. And yeah, that's the criminal. He is badass at shooting, and can blow up suspect markers. Nothing too bad about that. We'll go on to the clown now. Okay, I just changed that. There we go. Okay, yeah, the clown. Right. This guy is more zany, shall we say. He has his acid flower, which is could do some work potentially. Kind of fun though. 2 blood on a shooting attack is always useful, even if it's light. I can't remember what acid does off the top of my head, but yeah, that's something to do with the strength die, I think. And his cards, which for his close combat weapon, which is reach 3, so he hits people from 3 inches away. Handy and sharp, meaning you can re-roll all the all the rolls to hit, whether they're standard attack dice or sharp, is bloody good. Single point of blood isn't going to be like, worrying Ra's al Ghul anytime soon, but nonetheless, it's worrying. He's almost guaranteed to do some damage, which is that's just going to build up over the course of things. Let's see what his traits are. Like I said before, his stat line is exactly the same as the other Jokers in this set, so take that as from what you will. Let's see his traits. So going on, he's got luck again. That's good. I didn't even notice that before. So luck for those crucial attack rolls, perhaps. Let's see what the other special ones that he's got. True Psychopath, seen last on what's her name, Punchline. It's this guy really ties in with the scoring deck, in fact, in your crew, and True Psychopath helps with that. So with the Psychopath's objective card, he'll be getting you get double the markers on there for kills, which means it's more likely to score. It's a 3-pointer as well. That's damn good. On the same in the same vein, Explosive Teeth is a special action. You can have you can move an explosive teeth marker, which again ties into one of your objective cards. Move that marker up to 4 inches, put it into harm's way, shall we say, and then reduce its number by 1, which could set it off potentially. Yeah, that's really useful. Enemies dodging those exploding teeth is a real pain in the bum, trust me. So being able to avoid that from happening is could be crucial. And again, more points is always good. Carrying on, Poison Fish is really fun. Target a poison fish marker. Again, doesn't seem to have to be within any set range. It's not like it's within 8 inches. Anywhere on the board by the look of it. And choose a direction and roll 2 dice and move the marker that number of inches. Any model this marker comes in contact with that has an endurance value less than the roll that you roll to move it gets poisoned, and getting poisoned is useful. Again, lots of poison fish hanging around on the board, generally speaking, when you're playing as Joker or against Joker, and the ability for him to, after they've scored that one turn, they just tend to hang around, so the ability to have them actually do something afterwards is really useful, if you ask me. And again, of course, you could move it 2d6 out of harm's way in the turn that you put it down, in order to keep it away from enemies to make sure it scores in the end phase. Useful stuff. All these are, the Poison Fish and the Explosive Teeth, bear in mind, are special actions, and this model hasn't got scientific or anything. He won't be doing multiple special actions in a turn, so bear that in mind. But yeah, having a leader model that actively, directly influences your objective cards is kind of unique. I can't think of many others, if any. So yeah, there you go. I mean, he explicitly goes with these particular cards as well. So yeah, there you go. I do like the clown. Right, onto the comedian. As you can see, he's got all the same stat line. He's in terms of the basic stats, which isn't bad. It's just not great either. He's very killable, especially without any armor or anything. But there's that. He's armed with his camera, which interestingly has 24 shots. I'm guessing that's the standard number of photos on this particular type of film. And yes, so here we go. His accurate blind does no damage, of course, it being a camera, but he can, with the ability to blind, with the flash rule to inflict on people, you can then dogpile them with other things, and that is a a handy thing to do to people, especially in a Joker crew when you've got people with chainsaws running around and some very other hard-hitting guys. He's also got the ubiquitous Joker crowbar, straight with the stat line ripped straight off of Red Hood, which is one of the most devastating lumps of metal in the entire game. Blunt 2, devastating for that extra strength die, handy and heavy, is just is nasty as all hell, so there you go. He's this guy is very much a close combat kind of guy as well, up close and personal. He'll be able to deck henchmen relatively easily with this weapon, same as anyone else would. But let's see, what else has he got? In his traits, he's got Hidden Boss, which is the hush rule as far as I'm aware. It basically means if you lose your boss, which, remember, even though all three of these models are leaders, only one of them can be the boss at a time. You probably start with, I don't know, the criminal, perhaps. The comedian gains +1 willpower and immediately becomes the new boss. So jump him up to willpower 9 and he gets the boss crown for purposes of inspiration. You've got to bear that in mind, So yeah, it's interesting. I Am Chaos is his special, which is pretty gross. Gets really good depending upon how many enemy models are within 8 inches of him. You have to discard an objective card at random from your hand when you enact this as the Joker, which, if you are playing as Joker, that's just a Tuesday for you. You are regularly discarding cards and redrawing from your hand anyway, so no big deal there usually. Let's see. The opponent must then show you their objective card hand. In itself, that's quite useful anyway, seeing what they've got there. But for each enemy model within 8 inches and line of sight of the comedian, they then have to you can pick one of those cards and make the opponent discard it to redraw. So that's nasty. I mean, just imagine yourself in the middle of a big enemy crew doing that and just forcing them to just picking out the ones of the bits of their hand that they think they're going to score. You could really frustrate the opponent doing that. So that's I Am Chaos. So what else have we got here? Let's see. Oh yes, Manipulative. It lets you redeploy friendly models after deployment. That's pretty good. And of course, the Manipulative, the one we've seen, you can force enemies potentially take a willpower roll and they have to act last in the turn. Again, it's just one of those ones that sometimes it's completely useless, but sometimes it's the best thing you've ever seen, because you can force that really annoying henchman who's running away with the loot to act last and catch him and beat him down and get that loot. Lovely. He's got the one-shot gun. So he's the one with the one-shot gun. Obviously, he's definitely the one who did the dirty on poor Barbara Gordon there. And and he's also got to prove a point, which is, I think I've seen that on another Joker, possibly Back to Gotham, possibly somewhere else. Enemy models within 6 inches in line of sight suffer -1 to their willpower value while making a willpower roll. And you can also target enemy model as an extra action within line of sight, and it stops the opponent from doing special actions and willpower rolls. On paper, that's a good one. In 1v1 battles, it's probably really useful as well if you know what your opponent's got and what's worrying you. For me, as a solo battle reporter, not a solo player, I don't play solo outside battle reports, I hasten to add, but for those of us who are as a solo person who's trying to keep track of all these traits, it is one I do forget. But I think if I was playing regularly against the opponent who I knew what he did and what their models brought to the table, that could be a really valuable thing to have sometimes. But yes, those are the 3 Jokers, and I really like this set. 195 points though is a heck of a spend on a single, I don't know, I'm going to say single model. I count them all as sort of one big model, but they are going to be influencing different parts of the board most likely. So it's the case that it's a big chunk of your points. It's going to take up a lot. You'll be lucky to fit in many other big models, and if you take an expensive free agent, you're really going to start struggling for the size of your crew, especially for Joker, who tends to need or like to use lots of models. You can kind of forget that if you're taking these 3, although you just recently had a whole bunch of new options open up to you, which I'll cover in the next video. It's a tricky one. These guys are really good. and solid choices, but they won't last forever with their stat lines, and you won't have a whole bunch of henchmen around to keep them safe necessarily. Let's see, just thinking about it, they're also kind of audacity hogs as well if you really want to get the most out of them. Bear in mind all these lovely rules like I am chaos and, you know, detonate and exploding and manipulating the fish and the teeth. They're all special actions, so you can do those, but then if you do, you're not doing anything else with that model if he doesn't have audacity. And with 3 models taking up 3 points of audacity every turn, then you're kind of stuck for anything else to do with the rest of your crew. And your henchmen, generally speaking, hit quite hard in the Joker crew. You know, they're soft, they're very soft, they're slow, but they tend to hit fairly hard, you know, overall as crews go. And lacking the audacity to put on them might render you a little bit incapable elsewhere. But you know, I'd never, you know, it's not like these Jokers are disappointing when they attack either. But they might hog the limelight, shall we say, for your entire crew, with the rest of your crew just being models to move around and put down suspect markers whilst they're being inspired until damage happens, etc. But you know, your crew's likely to be obviously smaller than your average Joker crew if you take these guys. Like I said, no Harley, it'd be difficult to fit a Harley Quinn in there, but again, we'll come back for the next video to see some of these alternatives opening up, including the victims and Gaggy and etc. So you know, but yeah, I think these are another unique addition to the rules. I'm very, you know, I'm glad these don't just immediately just fit into slots already taken by other Jokers. These are a unique way to play, which is what we're always looking for in this game. Just different, you know, even within your faction, you can pick this setup, slots into your existing faction, but gives you a completely different way to play and gives you that bit more interactivity with your objective deck, which works in a completely unique, gives you a completely unique experience, which is awesome. Okay. I mean, you could also just pick up this 3 Joker set and substitute these models in for other versions of Joker if you've got the cards. They generally do kind of work quite well for that as well, so there's possibly even a bit of a money saving there for you. But there you go, I'm just going to wrap up this video now. I really like this set, you might have gathered. I don't know exactly how long it'll be before I get a chance to play with them. I've got to get them all painted first, etc, etc, which means, does that mean doing them all a different shade of purple on the coats, or do I do them all uniform? Oh, I don't know. Probably go try do something a bit different for each one, like they are on the box. And yeah, I'll see you for that game, I expect, at some point in the future. Let's see, was there anything else? No, I think that's it. Yeah, just if I've missed anything, if there's any ideas you've got for how to use these guys, or you know, if I missed out on any traits or anything which has annoyed you sufficiently, please leave me a comment or whatever, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay, my name's Shieldwall100 and I approve this message. Take care and goodbye.